All right. Well, that was Adam McBride. Adam, thank you for being here. You are a scholar, a gentleman, and a crawfish fan.
And a European traveler.
He is a European traveler. So how many years did you pick up on there?
How many years? I'd say he has 9 years.
Basically a decade.
Probably, yeah, a decade.
So the guy went from we'll call him Adam because that's his name. But the guy went from never going to a place like the Czech to then going and then spending the next decade.
To where they probably just see him now and say, Adam, good to see you again.
Adam. Is that how people in the Czech talk?
I'd have no idea. Adam.
What is that? Adam, hello. What is that?
Is that generic European voice?
I don't know what that is.
Adam. Okay.
Yeah. You know what I was encouraged about is he just, you say that fact to him and he's just like, yeah,
that's what I do.
Like, that's not typical, right? Like, it is not typical for any of us to all of a sudden feel called to a section of the world and spend the next decade with your full family involved.
No,
that's amazing.
Makes it seem very easy. And I guess that's the lesson in this, is that it doesn't have to be difficult if it's, something that you're open and willing to do.
Yeah.
And as he put it, it's basically just making sure that the kids are having fun when you're there and you're pouring into the staff. And, things that we try to do anyway.
Yeah.
For the Christian, that's just kind of what we are called to do, is to love people and to serve them. And so it kind of boils it down and makes it a little bit easier.
You make it sound so simple. Like, what would change a person's outlook to go do something like that? I mean, you're making it sound so easy. Is that easy for you? That's challenging for me.
I could say that trips that I've been on to places that I never thought that I would go to, India.
Shout out to India.
Gave me an affection for it. I can't say it's every year for 9 years or 10-year kind of affection.
You're not as involved as Adam.
Adam makes it look easy. Let's just face it.
Yeah.
Kid skated on a broken leg, so he's
That's why we're encouraged by him, but we hate him at the same time. So. Just kidding.
Hate you, love you.
Is that the European voice again?
Adam.
Well, yeah. So let's boil it down for a second. So why did you go to India for the first time?
I was interested in going.
Okay, we just high pitched today. Apparently, wow.
No, it was a place that my wife and I, after seeing a episode of The Amazing Race, said we'll probably never go there, but the invitation kept coming our way.
Okay,
number one, and then it was finally okay. Let's go do this. We feel like God is bringing this around enough to get through our stubbornness to go ahead and go with this group of people, and
then you go.
We're grateful that we did.
And then have you been
back?
Have you been? How many times have you been?
Twice.
Okay. And then you've grown a love for the people in India.
I think it gave me an appreciation for Indian people here and abroad.
Okay.
So that if I were to go back,
yeah,
I would look forward to it. And if I am talking with somebody here who is from India, or even on a Zoom call for work, it gives us something to talk about and connect with, and it creates some goodwill, some good rapport there. So
do you think Adam feels a calling towards people in the Czech?
I don't know if it's Czech people. I didn't hear that. But they were the people who are in front of him. Yeah. And there's a particular Czech person or a couple of people there that he was drawn to.
Okay.
And definitely I think he would view them as family.
So have you felt called to, like, sometimes people say they're called to like a people group or a location somewhere in the world, and they're like, I can't stop thinking about this. I gotta go. They go on these trips. Have you ever felt that before?
I have not personally. Okay. No, I have, just to make it real simple for you.
Yeah.
I have not.
It's funny. I haven't either, actually. Right. I even went through a time period early on in my life. I think I felt guilty about that because, like, you just come across someone who feels so confident and this is where they need to go, right? Or invest a part of their life in for a while. And I maybe even prayed for that probably selfishly. It's probably the wrong type of motivation.
Where'd you pray for? Switzerland?
I should Delaware, probably.
Okay.
No, I was just like, God, okay, how come I don't feel a calling towards this people group? Like, show me who it's supposed to be. And then the older I've gotten, I just know God's like, it's the people in front of you.
Yeah.
This is for me, right? There's people who are still called to a people group or an area around the world. Obviously, we can't ignore people right in front of us.
Can I just tap the brakes here real quick?
Tap the brakes.
You're feeling strong, my friend.
Double button.
I'm going to call you on this because you did go to Austin with kind of that in mind, that you were going to be there for people in Austin in particular, right?
Yeah, that is
specific
true.
Area?
That was.
Okay. I just want to make sense of it, because how did you view that?
You're basically calling me out on that.
Well, no,
yeah, thank you.
Yeah, just in front of the podcast, in front of everybody
you.
else is listening.
Appreciate
I'm
that.
just putting you on the spot here and saying, hey,
are you still
I
talking
don't believe it.
Okay. So let's play that out for a second. So we did feel called to go plant in Austin. And so that was a really specific call. And then, a handful of years into that, it was, I don't know how to describe this. It was like the Lord said, assignment complete. Like it was time to move to back to DFW. And I don't mean that to say like people are assignments. It was just like this. You don't pour your whole life into something like starting a church. That's what we mean by planting a church. You don't pour your whole life into starting something for years and years and years. And then all of a sudden wake up and we're like, oh, it's time to be done. Like you just don't do that.
Yeah.
So we know the Lord was giving us clarity. So yes, I guess I have experienced it before.
A calling of sorts.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. But even like today, I'm in DFW. We're both in Dallas, Fort Worth. And so, yeah, I want to love the people right in front of us. And I say this out loud right now. I don't feel a calling towards a certain people group or a country or something like that today. Maybe I will tomorrow. But all that to say is I just love how we're all different. I love how Adam can come on here. He's just a regular guy who plays hockey on like one toe, apparently, and gets his family involved. They get involved in the Czech Republic, and it's been 10 years, basically.
And it all started with a conversation about baseball, which is something that is very, very close to Adam, something that he grew up with, something that he's really enjoyed. And so when you look at it, it has God's stamp all over it.
Yeah.
And it was for him.
Yeah.
And for those that are, part of his family and people that he's invited in. So that's the takeaway that I have, is that it doesn't have to be exactly like that for you.
Yeah.
God knows every single detail about you, and he knows what and who he wants to impact and how he's going to use you.
Yeah.
But I like what you're talking about as far as praying about it and being available. And I think that's the key lesson too, is that just be available and ask and see where God directs you and who he directs you to.
I mean, you think of like the human body, like not to go down a huge anatomy lesson, I don't know. Did you know we were talking about anatomy today?
We are now.
You have all these different members of the body. You have all these different body parts. They all work together. There's so much there that if you ever study, when I was an EMT for like 6 months, had to learn every bone in the body. I had it at one point. I had it memorized. I don't remember any of it now. It doesn't matter. There's like an elbow or whatever, or a phalange for a finger. But there's all these different parts of the body, and they all have to work together. And it always encourages me to hear people's stories that I don't quite match up with and go, well, that's not me, but that's you. Yeah. And that I love that, because we have to play all of our different roles. And I'd want to encourage, you or me or anyone listening, our stories don't have to look the same, nor should they, honestly.
No, not at all.
Our skills and our abilities don't have to look the same. There can always be overlap, but they don't have to at all. In fact, I would embrace the difference between all of these things, where, like you said, each person individually can just say yes to something the Lord's putting right in front of them.
Right.
Now imagine, I don't know, millions of people saying yes in their own lane. Now I feel like I see this church, Big C church, basically kind of big human body, and all these parts working together for the glory of God. Like we just sometimes get so caught up in the comparison, and we wonder, I would hate for someone to listen to this and go like, well, how come I don't go to the Czech Republic? Maybe God is leading you to go there, but also maybe God is not. Maybe God's leading you to go somewhere else. Maybe God's leading you to talk to your next door neighbor.
Maybe, yeah. You have to embrace the uncomfortable there too, and I think that was part of the lesson. Is that I say lesson a lot. Really, it wasn't a lesson.
I said phalanges earlier, so it's okay.
We're just in lesson mode here, but
I said phalanges.
Yeah, I really appreciated how you embraced the uncomfortable too. Afterward, after we went out, after the podcast episode, we went out for some crawfish, and that was something that was a little bit more different.
We did. The listener at this point might be like, "What are you talking about?" Well, we'll tell you what we're talking about. What are we talking about?
Little tiny lobsters. Yeah.
What is that version of crawfish? Is that like a version of a crawfish boil?
That is a crawfish boil.
Okay, so what
Put
we
down
did
in front of you.
You and Adam are well versed in the crawfish boil.
Yeah.
That was my first time.
And you did great.
It was messy. It was delightful.
You only splashed a little bit of
I
butter.
dropped a huge potato in a big old bowl of butter.
Part of it. Part of the fun.
I sprayed a neighbor with like a shell, I think. I think something got in my eye.
Yeah, that's if you're not stinging your eyes your first time.
It was
doing
great.
crawfish.
It was a great experience.
Yeah.
Great experience.
Yeah, good job there, though.
Final thoughts on Adam?
Just fun to have him on there, and to he's been a friend for a long time. We've already belabored that point, and so just to have fun with some of the questions too that I knew he was going to enjoy. One question I did not ask him though.
What's that?
Do you know that bees and dogs smell fear, and then that the human head weighs 10 pounds?
Bees and dogs. I think I knew dogs smell fear. A bee?
Yeah.
Does a bee have a nose?
Thanks so much for joining us. Please consider rating and reviewing our podcast and hitting subscribe on whichever platform you prefer. Remember to keep moving forward because we're not quite there.